Well, welcome to my explanation of this shadow in regards to spirituality and the spiritual awakening path. What is the shadow? What is the shadow really? When we really start to understand what's happening with these different terms, then we can more properly use these terms to our advantage in our healing path. Yeah, thank you guys who have been watching my videos. It's much appreciated that we can have this interaction with each other in this way. Definitely a lot of gratitude and appreciation for those of you who do watch these videos, and I really hope that they're helpful for you. It's coming from a place of the heart when I do them. Hopefully the technology agrees too. So why do I have Freud's model of the ego, superego, and id drawn on this board right now? I am not going to pretend to be a psychologist, and I'm not going to pretend like I'm playing one on TV, friends. I hope you guys can forgive me if I am a little bit scatterbrained, a little bit goofy. I've been dealing with some grief and loss, and I have been kind of a sole parent for the last 3 weeks, and it has been spring break, so I have been very busy with caregiving. And I'm doing my best, but I feel called right now to just kind of share an intuitive description of the terms conscious mind and unconscious mind and the shadow. So I have drawn up Freud's description of the conscious, preconscious, unconscious mind, id, ego, superego. He has this fun little diagram that he made. I don't know that much about psychology and about Freud personally, but I just think that this is going to be helpful in the explanation process. So you have conscious mind, preconscious or subconscious, as some people say, and the unconscious mind. First, to start off with, sometimes people use the term unconscious mind and subconscious mind interchangeably. There's nothing really wrong with that, but like to really get down to it, there is a difference between preconscious or subconscious mind and the unconscious mind. So differentiate when people talk about manifestation. It's actually really important, I think, to differentiate the two because you have different things going on. Now, these layers of awareness certainly do bleed into each other. It's not like there's some perfect delineated line, but ultimately, the conscious mind, that's the aspect of your awareness that is happening right now. It's what you have access to as you sit and you watch this video. Maybe you're eating a snack or sipping some tea and you can see what's going on, and maybe there are some feelings or some thoughts going on. This is all your conscious awareness. The preconscious mind, or as some people say, the subconscious mind, this is the term Freud used, preconscious mind. This is the aspect of your awareness that you can access, like if you want to remember something right now. You know, remember somebody's address or a phone number, or you catch a whiff of a certain flower and it reminds you of grandma's perfume or something like that. That's all accessed in the preconscious level of your awareness. We have a level to our awareness that is a whole lot more tricky and causes a lot of problems for people, called the unconscious mind. So Freud broke the aspect of your physical being, or maybe it's your overall being, I don't really know, I'm not going to go there, but essentially ego, superego, and id. So this is the ego, really, that word just means I, no negative connotations needed here. I refer to ego as the form identity, but this is like your outward personality. I'm slurring my speech, probably lack of sleep. The ego is like your outward personality. It is the way you show up in the world. It's the way you present yourself. Again, all of this is tied into each other. This is just the outermost part of the iceberg. As far as like the iceberg and the way it's situated, I don't know if this is fully accurate, like with the way the conscious mind, preconscious mind is all situated with it. I just wanted to show it all in one picture so that I didn't have to draw it a couple times, because it's really hard to draw at this angle, so that's what's going on here. You have your superego and your id, and these, I guess, correspond. So conscious mind, ego, really in a basic description. Preconscious mind more corresponds with the superego. Unconscious mind more corresponds with the id. So these aspects, the superego and the id, are mainly unconscious. You can access the preconscious, like I said, pretty easily by going into your memory. Accessing the unconscious is a very difficult thing to do. Now, I'm going to go back to the description of the neural network within the brain that I had talked about in previous videos. So please forgive my picture of a brain. It might look like two ball sacks glued together, but pretend it's a brain, please. Get your mind out of the gutter. So you've got stuff is recorded in here. Again, I worked out earlier and lifted a bunch of weights, so my arm feels like 100 pounds right now. So drawing this neural network hurts. But these little pathways form based on experiences that you had growing up. Okay, so Freud kind of talks about like the id. That's the part of you that is active. So like the baby, the toddler years. So as you're growing up, we know that the neural network forms in your brain. This creates your filtration system, basically, in tandem with the genetics of the body. And the unconscious mind also exists within this neural network. So aspects of this neural network, you guys, is not just in the brain. It's connected to, here comes my weird little alien friend, okay? It's connected throughout your nervous system, your gut. It's all connected, okay? So the neural network is not just within the brain, really. It's the whole organism working together, the whole neurological system working together. This is like your outward physical experience. Maybe you could liken it to the outward branches on the top part of the tree of life, and then the unconscious mind, maybe that's like the branches underground. I don't know, however you want to think of it, but this is all connected and all tied into each other. And within this neural network, there's different levels of access that you have to it. Your conscious mind has a certain amount of access to these memories and belief systems, experiences within this neural network. Your preconscious or subconscious mind has you have access to a certain amount of that. But there's a whole lot of these belief systems that are stored in the unconscious mind, the id aspect of you that you are not aware of, that is operating in the background. Some of it's okay, some of it's pretty benign, some of it's pretty dark and scary. Because I don't know about you guys, but from what I've seen about living as an earth human, is traumatic experiences are an integral part of the human experience. We all have them to some degree. We did not come into these bodies to, I don't know, just get what we want all the time. We came in here to learn and grow. And I know it's hard, believe me. But we know that most of us have some kind of traumatic experience growing up, whether it's seeing a dog get hit by a car, whether it's being beaten, whether it's, a whole bunch of other things that happen. These things do happen to us. And what happens is we have this body, it's not personal, you guys. It's just the way this meat suit is set up. The biology of this body has a coping mechanism. When something happens, and particularly I'm talking about the things that the shadow is the aspect of the neural network that is unconscious, that is the traumatic experiences. Okay? The reason why these go unconscious is because this coping mechanism that this body has, when something is extremely intense and difficult to deal with, often the mind is just like, nope, cannot handle this right now. Boop. So it goes unconscious. And also, like, there have been patterns of behavior that have been handed down generation to generation, blah, 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 culturally, of not dealing with things when they come up. Sometimes it's not convenient, so you have to put it away. Sometimes it's just the people around us don't mean to, but they teach us to do that. That's where like a lot of drug and alcohol addictions are actually numbing pain. Marijuana is also a part of this, you guys. Anything that you are using to distract yourself from your feelings is an avoidance of some unconscious pain. The shadow. So the shadow is not some evil part of you. It's not like some demonic part of you that you need to be afraid of. The shadow is the wounds that have happened, that have been recorded into your meat suit, friends. And it's in the unconscious aspect of you. It's hiding in the background. Now the problem with this is when it comes to the life that we are experiencing, this filtration system, when we are too identified, the inner you, your soul, it's right here, you guys. It's literally situated in this part of your body. Too much of it is tangled up and tied up in here. This soul, this inner aspect of you is connected, boop, to your higher self. Boop. That higher self is connected to all that is, or God. These little tentacles get tangled up. Fragmentation happens to a lot of people. The more trauma that a person has, the more fragmentation, and these little tentacles are stuck in different unconscious parts of this neural network. And this is why people behave in shitty ways and they don't see it. That's the shadow. The aspects of your behavior, the patterns that are on repeat, the self-sabotage, that's all from the unconscious mind. That is the shadow. The shadow is the stored wounds and trauma within the unconscious mind that are creating. This reality that we are experiencing is being created from within our inner experience. Most of it is coming from the unconscious. Most of the stuff that we're experiencing and creating, the way we're interacting, unfortunately, if too much of the unconscious is not brought into your conscious awareness, that's going to create negative patterns in your life that like look at your relationships. What kind of patterns are repeating? Because of the way that, so when something traumatic happens, the defense mechanism is to push it away and not deal with it. It's still there, it's still operating, it's still creating. It cannot happen any other way. It is the way this reality is set up. It will continue to manifest and make noise, but the conscious mind hasn't dealt with it yet. It's not aware of it. There is a disconnect. That's actually Bessel van der Kolk does talk about that in his book, about the way that there's a disconnect from the conscious awareness and the wounds that haven't been dealt with that are in the unconscious. Often people don't even really remember it. It's not that they can't access it, it's that you have to work to access it. And so there's a disconnect between those two experiences. In the conscious awareness is severed from that unconscious experience that's still there, it's still operating, that program is still running. And so that program is still creating within your experience. I have seen it. And here's the thing about the shadow or the unconscious wounds. They're the same thing. That's literally synonymous. Shadow, unconscious wounds. Same thing. Please excuse my messy bedroom. I am sharing kind of an afterthought. I had a situation recently. I'm kind of going through a pretty intense time in my own personal life. And I had a situation that triggered, I knew what it was. It was some sort of unconscious wound. I'd been doing this work for long enough, this inner work, to where I knew what it was and what I needed to do with this intense emotional situation. And so Leslie Temple Thurston is this spiritual teacher. She wrote this book. She has a few books, but The Marriage of Spirit has been immensely, I have the book right here, immensely helpful in my own life. Here it is. She's such a beautiful being. Her books and Eckhart Tolle's books have been the most helpful for me personally. But she has these really good exercises for when you get triggered, how to bridge that unconscious wound and bring it conscious, and then you can do something with it. And there, you write out the story of everything that you can think of about the situation, and then you circle all the charge words. And then she has these series of steps that you take to. So basically, it's you write down the charge words that you found, and then you find the antonym, and you write the antonyms of each of those words, and then you try to find the ascended balance state. So the state that's in between those, that you would experience within your true self and not the form identity. And then you do triangles and squares, these other exercises that you have, and then you say a prayer, and it's supposed to help you delete that program, so to speak. But I found something really interesting when I did that the other day. So in Bessel van der Kolk's book, The Body Keeps the Score, he talks about times that he's worked with patients and used journaling as a healing modality. And what he found was when someone's unconscious wound state is triggered and they're in that unconscious wound state, the handwriting is different. And that's what I noticed when I was doing my journaling the other day. My handwriting looked like a kid's handwriting, and I normally have pretty neat handwriting. And I was like so floored because I was like, okay, this means we're getting to something really big, some kind of a breakthrough. And yeah, I really believe in these exercises. I'm going to put the link to her work in the description. Really, really helpful, you guys. It's really easy to see other people's shadows, and it's really hard for us to see our own shadows. It's really important for us to learn, and for a lot of us it takes practice because we have not been trained to do this, to pay attention to our own experience and pay attention to how we can heal our own shadows. It's far more important to do that than to be paying attention to what other people's shadows are doing. There really is, when it comes to the spiritual healing process, there really is this stay in your own lane aspect that is very sacred, and it does need to be honored and worked at. Now, if somebody comes to someone else for advice, they're ready to start working on their, unconscious wounds, bringing the unconscious conscious, healing, integrating the shadow, integrating your awareness back into itself. Then that person is asking for assistance or advice, then it's okay to start sharing your opinions about that person's shadow. But that is the most, really it is kind of the most insidious part about all of this, is that most people who are creating, they don't realize that they are the source of their own demise within their life. Let's see. So yeah, about 21 was my age when I read Eckhart Tolle's book. Intuitively, I was like, this is it. This is my path. I started on that journey. And it was a long, painful journey. At that point, I was really heavily into alcoholism, and I was trying to cover up the pain as much as I could with alcohol. But it was a process of healing from that point on. And throughout that process, there have been a lot of different ways that I have accessed unconscious stuff and brought it conscious and released it. When you bring it conscious, then you have the choice to say, do I really want this program running in the background? Do I really think that this is true? Bashar talks about having permission slips to let go of something, but you have to bring it conscious, bring it into your conscious awareness. And I'm going to put some links in the description, ways that I have done that. There's a lot of different exercises and techniques to be able to do this on your healing journey. The most important part is working on keeping your consciousness in the now, though. Because from the point of the now, keeping your consciousness in the now, it's much easier to start to see the way that this shadow, the way that these unconscious wounds are making themselves known in your experience. Noticing triggers. What is triggering you? Pay attention to that. That's where the gold is. Figure out why it is that situation made you so upset. Dig in, feel it, pay attention to it. That's how you access these unconscious wounds. Those triggers are a gift. Do not run from them. Do not try to push them away, pass them off onto someone else. And I know it's hard. I've been on this journey too. I know it's hard. But that's how you integrate. You reintegrate the unconscious and bring it conscious. Those triggers are trying to tell you something. Sometimes really gifted psychotherapists and psychiatrists can help you with this. A lot of that field has a lot of catching up to do, I think. But this unconscious, this shadow, we're going to draw a little picture of a ghost, a little ghoul. Ooh, do you guys like my sound effects? Boop, boop. So some spooky little eyes. In the background, oh, again, my arm feels 200 pounds right now. Maybe he's got some sharp teeth because he wants you to think that it wants you to be scared of it. Don't be scared. Don't be scared of the shadow. This is my representation of your shadow. It's the unconscious wounds operating in the background. This neural network has different layers to it. Conscious, pre-conscious, unconscious. Unconscious wounds, shadow. That's why, okay, so, oh my heavens, this channel I have watched for years, and I have to take breaks from it sometimes, but it's called Soft White Underbelly. Mark Leda, really beautiful, deep human being. What he is doing with this channel, sometimes people kind of misunderstand, but there's a huge gift in this channel. Observing trauma up close and personal from the people's stories, people's own stories of trauma. Some of them are very, very, very hard to listen to. So just before you go to that channel, make sure that you're in a state where you can handle it. But you see these people and super, super traumatic childhoods. Maybe they're homeless and they're addicted to drugs and they're prostituting so they can pay for their drugs. And maybe they've had people come in and try to help them get out of these patterns. Say, hey, I will give you a place to stay. I will, help you get a job. I will get you into a drug and alcohol program. People who will come in these situations sometimes and just say, here, I can help you. Often what happens is even if those people accept the help, they go back to their old ways. They go back to their old patterns. This unconscious mind is very, very, very powerful. It is literally creating your experience. All of our experiences are mostly influenced by the unconscious mind, not the subconscious mind, the unconscious mind. And so people wonder, why does that woman go back to the man who beats her up all the time? The unconscious wounds need to be brought into the conscious mind. Then the conscious mind, with the anchor of the now, can make the decision on what to do with that experience. Do I really believe, okay, so this happened, and then there's a belief system in my unconscious mind attached to a traumatic experience where I saw my mom get beat up a whole bunch. This isn't my experience, although I believe that is how it needs to be. Unconsciously, not consciously. So that person then ends up in a relationship where they're mistreated, or maybe they end up being the one who's mistreating because they think that that's how you treat a partner in a relationship. So these traumas will continue to repeat. The conscious awareness is not aware of it. Okay, I have seen, many of us have seen this in other people. I have seen it in myself. So the shadow is not something to be ashamed of. And what happens is because the unconscious mind can actually be kind of scary. Some people, they're not fully aware that there's a fear there, but the more trauma that's stored in that unconscious mind, I have seen this directly with one relative in particular. It is so full, so pregnant with trauma in there that the conscious mind, it's like I'm not going to go there. And a lot of people operate this way. There's a lot of pain in there. But the only way out of the self-sabotage and repeating the old patterns of just awful experiences is by accessing that. It's little by little. Paying attention to those triggers is really helpful. Establishing a basis of keeping your awareness in the now as much as you can. Okay, it's not something that people can just do instantly most of the time. But from that now awareness, paying attention to the different, so your external reality, the mirror of the inner, will give you little experiences, a reflection of the inner. Boom, there's a surge of rage or extreme feelings of inadequacy, or like some intense visceral emotional response to some external stimuli is going to give you direct access to some sort of unconscious wound. That is the shadow. It is not something to be afraid of, because actually being brave enough to decide to go in there and start doing that healing, you start to see, okay, I can do this, and you start to see the fruits of your labor. Suddenly, so let's say you work through something. That old stimuli that used to give you that visceral trigger response, it's not doing it anymore. You're freeing yourself from the prison of the unconscious mind within the meat suit, identification with the meat suit. You're trapped in identification with form as long as you're not dealing with the unconscious mind, because you're not even aware that it's there. The reason why most people do not awaken, and maybe there's an ultimate reason, maybe it's not supposed to happen that way, but there's a lot of fear associated with going into the unconscious mind. But there's a lack of awareness that the fear is even there. So that's my intuitive description of the shadow aspect of the mind. The Freud example was obviously not mine, and this is not mine either, because it's all one connected source of consciousness anyway. Pretty please. Like and subscribe. And if you're Irish, happy St. Patrick's Day. Don't drink too much.